Have you ever wondered why the most powerful transformations happen in silence when no one else is watching? My friends, life is filled with noise, opinions, and constant chatter from the world around us. Yet, the greatest breakthroughs, the deepest healing, and the most profound clarity are born in stillness. When you choose to focus on yourself and remain silent, you are not withdrawing, you are realigning. You are stepping back from distractions so that your spirit can hear what truly matters. Silence is not weakness, silence is strength under control. It is the power of holding your peace when the world pushes you to react. When you focus on yourself, you learn that growth is not about proving yourself to others. It is about becoming who you were meant to be. By staying silent, you rise above gossip, negativity, and the pressure to conform. You create sacred space within your heart where wisdom can take root and guidance can be revealed. Think about the seed buried in the soil. It does not shout. It does not announce itself. In the quiet darkness, it breaks open, takes root, and grows strong. Your personal growth works the same way. The hidden seasons of your life are where you are being shaped, strengthened, and prepared for what is to come. Focusing on yourself ensures that when the time is right, you will blossom with purpose, resilience, and clarity. Silence is not about ignoring the world, but about protecting your spirit. It teaches you discernment, what deserves your energy and what must be released. And in that silence, you will discover peace that cannot be shaken, wisdom that cannot be denied, and strength that cannot be broken. So focus on yourself and stay silent, not as an escape, but as a discipline, a divine act of trust. For in silence, you will hear the whispers of purpose. In focusing on yourself, you will step into the fullness of who you were created to be. Silence as a path to inner strength and clarity is one of the most misunderstood and undervalued practices in today's world. We live in a time where every thought is shared, every opinion is voiced, and every action is broadcasted. People often feel that silence means weakness, or that if they are not constantly speaking, posting, or explaining themselves, they are somehow irrelevant. Yet the truth is, silence carries a sacred power. It is in silence that strength matures, wisdom develops, and clarity shines. When you learn to embrace silence, you are not retreating from the world, you are rising above the noise of it. Silence is not the absence of power, it is the confirmation of it. A person who can remain quiet when provoked, still when tested, and calm when chaos surrounds them is a person who has tapped into a higher source of strength. When you choose silence, you choose mastery over your emotions. The world thrives on reactions because reactions are instant and often careless, but silence teaches restraint, and restraint is power. When you hold back words that could cause harm or arguments that lead to nowhere, you are protecting your spirit from unnecessary burdens. You are refusing to let the chaos of others pull you into their storm. This act of staying silent is not about avoiding confrontation. It is about choosing peace over pointless battles. That choice builds an unshakable strength within, a strength that does not need validation from others, a strength that is rooted in self-control. Clarity also lives in silence. Many times we cannot hear the direction we need to take because we are surrounded by noise from people, from opinions, from fears, and from our own restless minds. But when you step into silence, you give yourself permission to hear the voice within, that gentle guidance that knows what is best for you. Silence allows you to separate your true desires from the expectations others place upon you. It removes the fog of confusion and helps you see life with a clearer perspective. What once seemed overwhelming or complicated suddenly becomes simple when you allow silence to settle in your soul. Think of silence as a cleansing fire. It burns away distractions, clears away negativity, and prepares you for deeper growth. In silence, you learn patience, for silence does not demand instant gratification. It teaches you that strength is not always shown in what you say, but often in what you choose not to say. It teaches you that clarity is not always found in movement, but often in stillness. Silence is where you gather yourself, align your thoughts, and prepare your heart for the next step forward. There's also a hidden dignity in silence. Not everything requires your response. Not every insult deserves your answer. Not every battle needs your involvement. Sometimes silence speaks louder than any words could. It communicates confidence, wisdom, and a calm assurance that you do not need to prove yourself. The person who can remain silent in the face of noise demonstrates true mastery. This mastery does not come from ignoring reality, but from understanding it so deeply that you no longer need to react to it impulsively. Silence is a discipline that leads to transformation. By practicing silence, you strengthen your inner world, and by strengthening your inner world, you find clarity that guides your outer world. When others rush, you will move with wisdom. When others argue, you will stand in peace. When others doubt, you will be sure. This is the gift of silence. It refines you, empowers you, and sets you apart as someone who does not merely live by the world's noise, but by the quiet strength of a deeper truth. Focusing on yourself as a divine responsibility, not selfishness, is a truth many people overlook. Too often society teaches us that taking time for ourselves, prioritizing our growth, or choosing solitude is an act of selfishness. But in reality, it is an act of stewardship, a sacred duty to honor the life and purpose you have been entrusted with. When you focus on yourself, you are not turning away from others. You are strengthening yourself so that you can serve, give, and love more powerfully. It is impossible to pour from an empty vessel, and it is impossible to guide others when your own path is clouded. To focus on yourself means to take responsibility for your mind, your heart, your body, and your spirit, ensuring that you are aligned with the higher purpose for which you were created. There is a misconception that self-focus is pride, but pride seeks to elevate itself above others, while true self-focus is about discipline, balance, and growth. When you focus on yourself, you are tending to the inner garden of your soul. You are removing the weeds of doubt, fear, and negativity. You are watering the seeds of potential, nurturing your gifts, and creating the conditions for them to flourish. This is not selfishness. It is obedience to the calling of becoming the best version of yourself. Just as a tree must take in sunlight and water before it can bear fruit, you must take care of your inner life before you can impact others. Focusing on yourself also requires courage. It takes courage to step away from the constant pull of comparison, to silence the voices that demand you conform, and to resist the temptation of pleasing everyone. When you turn inward, you face your own reflection, the strengths you carry, the wounds you hide, the potential you have neglected. That honesty can be uncomfortable, but it is in that confrontation that transformation begins. By choosing to focus on yourself, you are choosing growth over stagnation, healing over denial, and purpose over distraction. That is not selfishness, it is sacred responsibility. When you focus on yourself, you also learn the discipline of boundaries. You understand what deserves your time and what drains your energy. You begin to see that not every relationship is healthy, not every opportunity is meant for you, and not every demand requires your response. Boundaries are not walls of pride, they are shields of wisdom. They protect your spirit from being consumed by what does not align with your purpose. In this way, focusing on yourself is not withdrawal, it is preservation of the sacred within you, so you may live with intention rather than exhaustion. Focusing on yourself leads to clarity of purpose. Many people wander through life unclear about their calling, their direction, or their identity because they spend too much time chasing the noise of others. But when you take the time to look inward, to cultivate your own gifts, and to listen to the whispers of your heart, you discover who you truly are. This clarity empowers you to walk with confidence, to pursue your goals with determination, and to live in alignment with the destiny already written for you. It is also important to remember that focusing on yourself is not meant to isolate you from others. Instead, it prepares you to give more meaningfully to the world around you. When you are strong within, you uplift those who are weak. When you are clear, you guide those who are lost. When you are whole, you heal those who are broken. Self-focus is not about rejecting others. It is about preparing yourself to serve them from a place of fullness rather than emptiness. So do not mistake the act of focusing on yourself as selfishness. It is sacred responsibility. It is the acknowledgement that your life, your gifts, and your purpose matter too much to be neglected. By nurturing yourself, you are not only honoring the divine work within you, but also preparing to bring light, strength, and love into the lives of others. That is the true power of focusing on yourself. It makes you a vessel ready to overflow with blessings far beyond your own life. Silence as protection from negativity and distraction is one of the greatest shields you can ever carry in life. The world is filled with voices, some encouraging, some doubtful, some critical, and some filled with bitterness. If you allow yourself to be exposed to every word, every opinion, and every argument, your spirit will be weighed down and your focus will be scattered. Silence is not merely the absence of sound, it is the decision to protect your inner peace by choosing not to engage with every force that seeks to pull you away from your purpose. Silence is your armor against negativity, and it is your guard against distractions that look harmless on the surface but drain your energy and dilute your focus. Negativity thrives on attention. The moment you respond to criticism, gossip, or toxic energy, you give it life. But when you remain silent, you deny it the fuel it needs to grow. Silence cuts off the oxygen to negativity, leaving it powerless against you. People may try to provoke you, situations may try to break you, but if you hold your silence, you communicate strength without ever speaking a word. This is why silence is so powerful. It cannot be twisted, it cannot be misquoted, and it cannot be used against you. It is a shield that protects your dignity and your energy. Distraction, on the other hand, often disguises itself as opportunity or entertainment. It comes in the form of endless scrolling, constant debates, unnecessary arguments, and the pressure to respond to everything around you. These distractions may not always appear negative, but they steal your time and your clarity. They keep you busy but not productive, connected to everyone yet disconnected from yourself. Silence protects you from these traps. It creates space where you are not constantly reacting, but rather choosing intentionally where your attention goes. In silence, you reclaim your focus, and with focus, you reclaim your destiny. Think of silence as a filter for your spirit. Just as a filter separates what is pure from what is polluted, silence separates what is meaningful from what is harmful. Not every word spoken to you deserves your reply, and not every opportunity deserves your energy. By staying silent, you are choosing not to be pulled into battles that have nothing to do with your purpose. You are choosing not to waste your strength on proving yourself to people who will never understand your journey. Silence allows you to keep your eyes on the path ahead, unshaken by the noise around you. There is also wisdom in recognizing that silence protects not only your peace, but also your vision. Many dreams have been destroyed because they were shared with the wrong people. Negativity has a way of planting seeds of doubt in fertile ground. When you stay silent about your growth, your goals, and your progress, You are protecting them from voices that could discourage you or distract you from your pursuit. Silence is not about secrecy, it is about preservation. Some things are too sacred to be discussed with everyone, and silence keeps them safe until the right time to reveal them. Silence also gives you the strength to rise above negativity without carrying resentment. If you engage in every conflict, you end up carrying anger, bitterness, and frustration. But when you remain silent, you free yourself from the need to fight every battle. You allow peace to remain in your spirit while others exhaust themselves with words. That is true freedom, to walk away without anger, to stay calm when provoked, and to choose peace over endless conflict. Silence as protection is not about weakness. It is about wisdom. It is about knowing that your energy, your peace, and your purpose are too valuable to be wasted on negativity or stolen by distraction. When you embrace silence, you create a shield around your heart and mind. You walk through life with focused clarity and strength untouched by the chaos around you. And in that silence, you will find the power to continue forward with unwavering determination while others are still trapped in the noise. Growth comes in hidden seasons, not always in public display, and this truth is one that can free your heart from the pressure of performing for the world. So often, we measure our progress by what others can see, by the applause we receive, or by the recognition that comes from being visible. Yet, the deepest and most lasting growth does not happen on the stage, in the spotlight, or under the praise of others. It happens quietly in moments where no one is watching, in the seasons where your effort goes unnoticed, and in the stillness where your spirit wrestles, breaks, and rebuilds. Hidden seasons are not wasted seasons. They are the fertile ground where your roots are established, ensuring that when you do step into the light, you are unshackable. Think about the way a seed grows. Before it ever breaks through the soil, it spends time buried in darkness. It expands, it strengthens, it anchors itself deep beneath the surface. No one claps for the seed. No one praises its hidden work, yet without that unseen process, there would never be a tree, never be fruit, never be shade to bless others. In the same way, your hidden seasons are preparing you. The struggles you endure silently, the discipline you practice quietly, and the lessons you learn in solitude are what shape you into the person who can stand strong when the world finally sees you. Without hidden growth, visible success cannot last. There is a temptation to rush through hidden seasons because they feel slow and unnoticed. You may wonder why things aren't moving forward, why your efforts seem invisible, or why doors remain closed. But what you don't realize is that the foundation is being laid. Every unseen act of discipline, every uncelebrated decision to stay focused, every quiet act of faithfulness is building something within you that no one can take away. The hidden season may not look glamorous, but it is sacred, for it is here that you are being refined, strengthened, and prepared for what's next. The danger of always seeking public display is that it creates shallow growth. Just like a plant that grows too quickly without strong roots will wither in the sun. A person who rushes to be seen without doing the inner work will crumble under pressure. Hidden seasons protect you from premature exposure. They allow you to build the endurance, the patience, and the maturity to handle the weight of the blessings that will come later. What feels like delay is often divine protection, ensuring you are ready before you are revealed. There is also beauty in knowing that growth is not always meant to be visible to others. Some of your greatest victories will be ones that only you and the divine know about. The habits you overcame, the healing you embraced, the wisdom you gained. These victories may never be posted, praised, or recognized, but they are treasures that build your character and shape your destiny. Hidden growth is not less valuable just because it is unseen. In fact, it is often more valuable because it is pure without the influence of performance or the pressure of applause. Hidden seasons also teach humility. They remind you that life is not about impressing others, but about becoming the person you were created to be. When you embrace hidden growth, you are free from the need for constant validation. You no longer chase recognition because you understand that true growth will eventually reveal itself in time. Just as a tree does not need to announce that it is bearing fruit, the fruit itself testifies your growth will speak for you when the season is right. So do not despise the hidden seasons. Do not think that because your work is unseen, it is unimportant. Every step you take in silence, every discipline you keep when no one applauds, every prayer whispered in the quiet, and every sacrifice made without recognition is part of your transformation. Trust that the hidden work will one day bring visible results. And when that time comes, you will stand not only taller but stronger, rooted in a foundation built in the unseen. Focusing on yourself aligns you with your true purpose because it draws you away from the noise of the world and brings you into harmony with the deepest truth of who you are meant to be. Life has a way of pulling us in countless directions, each one demanding our attention, our energy, and our loyalty. The voices of others tell us who we should be, how we should act, and what we should pursue. If we are not careful, we begin to live lives that are not truly ours, but molded by the expectations of society, family, or peers. Yet, when you intentionally shift your focus inward, when you quiet the distractions around you and give attention to your heart, you rediscover your center. You find that purpose is not something given by the crowd, but something already planted within you, waiting to be uncovered. Focusing on yourself does not mean you become selfish or detached from others. Instead, it means you acknowledge that your life has a unique calling, and if you do not nurture it, no one else will. You are entrusted with a purpose that no other person on earth can fulfill exactly as you can. To neglect yourself in pursuit of pleasing others is to neglect the very assignment you were designed for. When you give time to your own growth, when you sharpen your gifts, when you discipline your habits, you are aligning yourself with the path that was prepared specifically for you. In doing so, you not only honor your own existence, but also contribute to the greater good of those around you in a way that only you can. True purpose is often drowned out by noise. The noise of comparison convinces you that you must be like someone else to be worthy. The noise of criticism tells you that your path is insignificant. The noise of distraction keeps you so busy that you lose sight of your direction. But when you turn your focus inward, you begin to separate your true calling from the false voices that try to define you. Silence becomes your compass and focus becomes your guide. You start to recognize the passions, strengths, and values that have been written into your very being, and those are the keys to unlocking your true purpose. When you focus on yourself, you also learn to listen to the subtle guidance within, the gentle nudges that steer you toward the right opportunities and relationships. Purpose is rarely revealed in a shout. It is often revealed in whispers that can only be heard when you are still enough to listen. By quieting external demands and centering on yourself, you give space for those whispers to grow into clarity. You begin to see the patterns in your life, the lessons in your struggles, and the direction in your desires. All of this alignment comes not from chasing the approval of others, but from giving yourself permission to be still and attentive to your own soul. Alignment with your true purpose also brings peace. When you are out of alignment, you feel restless, scattered, and disconnected. You may be busy, successful even in the eyes of others, yet still feel empty inside. But when you focus on yourself and walk in the path that truly belongs to you, everything begins to flow with greater ease. Your energy is no longer divided. Your decisions carry clarity. Your actions resonate with meaning. You are not chasing fulfillment. You are living it. That peace is a sign that you are where you are meant to be. It is important to remember that aligning with your true purpose is a journey, not a one-time decision. It requires constant attention, reflection, and correction. By focusing on yourself regularly, you ensure that you do not drift too far from the direction you were created to follow. And in doing so, you inspire others, not because you are trying to please them, but because your life becomes a living testimony of authenticity, courage, and purpose. So focus on yourself not as an act of selfishness, but as an act of obedience to your calling. Protect your energy, nurture your gifts, and walk in your truth. The more you align with your true purpose, the more your life becomes a light, guiding others not with words, but by example, and in fulfilling your unique purpose. You honor not only yourself, but also the one who placed that purpose within you. Silence invites peace, wisdom, and divine guidance in a way that nothing else can. In a world that constantly demands our attention, silence becomes the sacred pause where the soul finds rest and the heart regains balance. Most people fear silence because it confronts them with themselves. But it is in that confrontation that transformation takes place. When you allow silence to settle around you, you step out of the storm of noise, and suddenly the waters of your spirit begin to calm. Peace is not something you chase in the outer world. It is something you allow to rise within, and silence is the doorway through which it enters. Peace is often drowned out by the constant chatter of worries, opinions, and distractions. Our minds race, our emotions swell, and we lose touch with the steady rhythm of our inner being. But silence teaches us to breathe again. It slows the rushing thoughts, releases the tension in our hearts, and reminds us that stillness is strength. In silence, you are no longer striving to control everything. You are surrendering to the flow of life. Trusting that peace comes not from solving every problem, but from quieting the storm within. This kind of peace cannot be bought, taught, or imposed. It is experienced only when you embrace silence as a companion rather than an enemy. Beyond peace, silence also brings wisdom. In the noise of the world, we often mistake loudness for truth. The true wisdom rarely shouts. It speaks softly in whispers that require stillness to hear. Wisdom does not come in the rush of hurried decisions or the chaos of endless debates. It comes in the quiet moments when you reflect, when you listen, when you let the noise fade and your spirit tune in to what truly matters. Silence creates space for discernment, for separating the essential from the trivial, the eternal from the temporary. When you embrace silence, you begin to see life with clarity. Decisions that once felt complicated become simple because wisdom is revealed when the noise is gone. Divine guidance, too, often waits in silence. Many people long for direction, clarity, and answers, but they search for them in the clamor of the world. They want the guidance of heaven yet live with no pause to hear it. Silence is the bridge that connects the human heart with divine instruction. It is in those still moments when the world is hushed and your spirit is attentive, that you sense the gentle nudges, the impressions, the inner knowing that guides you toward your purpose. Silence becomes the channel through which divine whispers are received, leading you not by force, but by a calm certainty that grows within. There is also a deep humility in choosing silence. It acknowledges that you do not need to always have the last word, always defend yourself, or always explain. Silence allows you to step back and trust that peace, wisdom, and guidance are already working on your behalf. It is the surrender of control and the acceptance that the greatest truths are often revealed, not spoken. And in that humility, your spirit is elevated to a higher place of understanding and connection. Silence is not emptiness, it is fullness. It is not the absence of life, but the presence of everything that truly matters. In silence, you find rest for your soul, strength for your journey, and direction for your steps. It is in silence that peace settles like a calm river, wisdom shines like a hidden lamp, and divine guidance leads like a gentle hand. When you make room for silence, you make room for transformation. So embrace silence not with fear, but with reverence. Let it heal you, let it strengthen you, let it guide you. For in silence you will discover that peace is not lost, wisdom is not far, and guidance is always near. Silence is not an escape, it is an invitation, a holy space where the deepest answers of life are revealed. My friends, life's greatest transformation does not come from chasing the noise of the world, but from finding strength in silence and courage, in self-focus. Silence teaches you discipline. It shields you from negativity and distraction. It reminds you that growth is often hidden, nurtured away from the eyes of others until the right season comes for it to bloom. Focusing on yourself is not selfishness, it is sacred responsibility. It aligns you with your true purpose, keeps you rooted when storms arise, and allows you to live with clarity and peace. When you embrace silence, you open the door to wisdom that cannot be found in constant chatter. When you honor yourself, you prepare your life to serve with authenticity and power. And when you combine both focus and silence, you create a path where strength, purpose, and divine guidance walk hand in hand. So choose today to step away from the distractions. Guard your spirit with silence. Nurture your gifts by focusing on yourself. Trust that the hidden seasons of growth are preparing you for greater days ahead. And know this, you do not need the world's applause to live with meaning. Your strength, your purpose, and your guidance come from within. And when you walk in that truth, nothing can take your peace, your focus, or your destiny away.